Okay, so for this week in language, there were a couple of things last week that both on my own and when talking to others, I kind of figure need to be a focus for us. So this is going to be the focus for this week, and this is a focus both in writing, but also kind of overlaps with reading and was for the oral language part. So we really sort of need to get into sentence starters. Not all students are able to kind of write their own sentences. They're still relying on kind of individual words. So I'm hoping that even with a few sentence starters, we'll start to kind of expand on some of these ideas. For those that don't need the sentence starters, they can continue and we can work on expanding the ideas there. But I'd like to get some of them starting to think, and it is kind of the majority of the students. So I'd like to see if we can brainstorm some sentence starters together and then look at how students can use them. And this is where we also need to link in with printing skills, but also with reading and stuff as well. So looking at, I thought we would use some plasticine. I'd seen it on Twitter from Anne Marie, so with making the letter formation with plasticine and also with printing on the smart board. This is where we can also use the name cards and things like that, so that can work in with some reading and decoding skills, and students can even use the resources and things in the classroom. And we can look at how to leave spaces between words, which is a mini lesson too that I'm noticing students require, so we can look at that, and also how to kind of create their own lines to help organize the text on the page. We're also going to be working towards our art gallery, so this is a great way to make art gallery ads, and we can kind of combine in this media component here too. So we can get into the media piece through our ads and the art gallery. So in social studies this week, and this will be through language, but it's something I also want to look at in that extra period that we have, more specifically devoted, I think, to social studies for at least the majority of the week, is I'd like to get us looking at different images. And I went on the virtual library and found some in Image Quest that will get us working on asking questions. So I'd like to kind of make the link to questions in language this week as well, which I think will link in with our pets that we have. So this will be a good one for a link into language as well this week. But looking at thick and thin questions and how can we ask some thicker ones, how can we turn thin questions into thicker ones. And then eventually what I'd like to do is I want to move us towards the disciplines of thinking, which will also help with the use of the cue chart as well. So I was talking to a friend of mine, Joanne, this weekend, and she's doing some neat things with her grade 8s. I know they're a lot older, but I think that this will really help kind of boost up what we're doing as part of our literacy as well as part of our social studies program. Okay, so for math this week, we are now ready for our visual arts component. And so on Tuesday, we're going to look at creating our success criteria and also a checklist of the key components for our art gallery. So we need to look at what do we need to include in our pieces of art. So if we're making the art, what are we going to include? And really trying to discuss if we want to move into just abstract art, which I think was my initial plan, but as students are kind of experimenting with art, I'm not so sure they want the abstract piece as much as just the art. So maybe we look at just the art itself, but with including some elements of the abstract art in terms of things like shapes and patterns and things like that, which I'd really like them to also include and have been things that we've been working on as well. So it'll be a nice link for them. And then they've selected the item, the tool of their choice to actually create the art. So we're going to make it. I would like to look at the Barbara Reed video with working with the plasticine, because I think that will help the large number of students that are working with plasticine, and would be a good link even for the students during my literacy block who are starting to work with it for letter and word formation and things like that. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to get into the musical component. So this is where we'll start at looking at some of the patterns in music. Students are each going to have to write theirs. We're also going to look at sorting the art pieces. So maybe sorting them by feelings, so how they help us, how they make us feel. And then using that in the actual creation of the music, where students can work alone or they can also work as part of a small group, and they're going to actually have to write the music and then record it. Okay, so we'll finish off on the writing and reporting of the music, which will help us with the one-to-one correspondence skills. tracking of the notes, counting the notes too. So we can look at how to actually do the counting piece, which will be another good reinforcement for the counting. And then the hope is that on Friday we'll be ready for our math talk, which is also when the gallery would be open, so that people can come and visit. Maybe we can get a few classes to sign up. I'm going to just hold off on this just to make sure our timing is correct, so we get people coming on the right day. Sometimes it takes a little longer than expected, because I want to make sure that the students also get a chance to share in small groups first. They need a chance to share with their peers and get a chance to really discuss the math pieces, and also highlight things that maybe they don't feel as confident discussing, and answering those questions so that they'll be able to answer them when other people also come to visit.